Okay, good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. We are in mid-August. Woo! Mid-August. And wow, what a summer. Extended summer for those of us that have kids in school. My kids start school in a week, so this is kind of get prepped for school week, if you will, or final prep for school week for us anyway. Anyway, good morning. Wherever you are tuning in from around the world, and we will be continuing our daily Facebook Lives this week, as usual. And before we kick off our first of the week, let me introduce my co-host, Ronan Rahman. Hi, buddy.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Happy Monday.
Indeed, it is.
It is. You know why it's Happy Monday? Because it's Market to Message Match Monday.
Well, that is true, too.
Right? I mean, that conversation alone should make it I'm excited for it. It is, like we always say, the most foundational conversation we have. That's why we have it on Monday, and we're having it live. So because we're having it live, that means that you can comment, you can ask questions, and we will actually answer them. So just a little reminder down at the bottom of the screen here as I click on it. And with that, Brian, I'm gonna let you do some teaching.
Sure. Awesome. Looking forward to it. Okay, so for the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to go over what market to message match is all about, why it's important, and how you can incorporate it into your, especially your LinkedIn profile. And for that matter, it should be incorporated into all your marketing. But for today, we're focused on how to generate appointments using specifically LinkedIn. So what is a market to message match in the first place? Well, it actually is quite simple. And I will define it this way. Your market are the people who you want to engage with, the people who you want to have a conversation with, the people who you want to consume your message, right? So your message is what you say to those people. That can become in the form of words, videos, images, posts, emails, subject lines, you name it. That's your message. And so when you match the two perfectly, where what you're saying resonates perfectly with who you're saying it to or who you want to receive it, then pretty much all your marketing kind of flows together very naturally and very nicely, and things become a lot easier and more fun, by the way. And so we have a formula that we start with in order to create the perfect market to message match. And that's what I'm going to share with you this morning. So Ronan, if you would share my screen, I'm going to pop on over to some slides, and here we go. So feel free to take screenshots of this, take notes, ask questions. We're here to help you in any way we can. And what I will say is we don't start any campaign in marketing without first going through this exercise. And we do it in a lot of detail. We take a lot of thought with this. This is not something that we typically do in minutes or even sometimes hours. This is the kind of thing that we will toil over, if you will, and think about and noodle and pass among each other and even test it in the market a bit before we roll out a full campaign. That's how important this exercise is. So please take notes, please ask questions, and here we go. So the first part of the formula is to pick an industry. Okay, it's really simple. Just pick an industry that you do business in or that you want to do business in. So industries could be things like automotive and entertainment and travel and food and healthcare and on and on and on. There's lots of different industries that you can pick from. Pick one for this exercise and only one. It's very important that when you're creating your market to message match, you focus. Okay, some of you have heard of the concept of niche marketing, sometimes pronounced niche marketing. This is kind of like that. It's important, and it's important because why spend money on a campaign or time even on a campaign if it's not going to resonate perfectly well with the people who you want to receive your message? Okay, next, market segment. Within whatever industry you chose, pick a market segment. Now, there could be tens of thousands of market segments and subsegments within whatever industry it is that you chose. Okay, so for example, if you chose automotive, you could select a market segment of parts or you could select a segment of new car dealers, or you could select a segment of electronic components for automotives. There's so many choices when you are thinking of a market segment. And I know this can be a bit daunting. And for those type A personalities like us, who go, well, wait a minute, I do business in multiple market segments within my industry. I get it. I understand that. So do we. But when you're building a campaign, you need to really get narrow-minded and think of a specific segment that you want to build this particular campaign off of. Okay, let's move on. Finally, or not finally, the next part of the formula is just to decide who is it within the market segment that you want to do business with, okay? Sometimes it's easy to think of these people in terms of what their title is, right? Are they the owner of a company, the CEO, president? Are they a project manager, marketing director, human resource director? Who are they specifically? What kind of job do they have within the market segment that you want to do business in? Who is it within the market segment you want to have a seat at the table with, to have a conversation with, to present whatever it is that you do, sell, offer, etc.? Who is it? And really, you may have multiple people that make sense for you within whatever market segment you chose. That's fine. In this particular case, you can write down a few different types of people, a few different job titles and things like that, if that makes sense. I know job titles can be very, very vast and differentiating. So go ahead and write down a few. Or if it's just one, great. Maybe it's just the owner of the company that's all that matters to you, and that's fine as well. But write down at least one specific person in that market segment. And then what you're going to do is this: you're going to think, you're going to question, you're going to ask yourself and possibly others this question: what is it that those specific people in that specific business desire most? Or what is it that those specific people are frustrated by the most, or worry about the most? Or what is it that they would rather not be doing that you can come in and do for them and do it even better than them? So, and if you can pick both what they desire most and marry that with what they're frustrated with most, or what they worry about most, or what their pain point is most, you've got a winning formula. And that's what we attempt to do to start the process of creating our perfect market to message match. I'm going to show you a couple of examples so that you can see how this comes to life and where you might utilize this in your messaging, in your marketing, especially when it comes to your LinkedIn profile. So here's a headline phrase that I often use on my LinkedIn profile, which is guaranteed appointments for business consultants and coaches seeking clients with six-figure budgets. And so I'm going to kind of unpack what's going on here so that you get what's going on here. Number one, I immediately call out what I do: guaranteed appointments, right? So it's very clear why someone might want to pay attention if that's something of value to them. Number two, I very clearly call out who I do it for: business consultants and coaches. So again, if you are that person and you're looking at my stuff, this might grab your attention. And then third is I call out a desire and I allude to a pain point. And the desire is seeking clients. That's what they want in this particular example, with six-figure budgets. And that is also something they desire. And it also calls out something that I know they're frustrated with, because it's difficult. And sometimes they're frustrated because they're not meeting people that have a six-figure budget to hire them. And so it's kind of a positive spin on something that they desire, and also something that they're like frustrated with as well. So that's how you can create messaging that speaks to a very specific audience using this formula. Now, I will tell you, we do business with other people that are not business consultants and coaches. We do business with, for example, CPAs. We do business with marketing agencies. We do business with financial planners and IT solution providers and other types of people within different market segments even. So I can't stress enough, what's important is when you're running a marketing campaign, a communications campaign, you want to speak to the individual, because business coaches and consultants have different desires and different frustrations than a CPA does. Completely different. And they have different desires and different pain points than a marketing agency does. Completely different. And when you get into certain types of businesses like a CPA firm that has 5 partners and 55 employees has very different desires and pain points than a CPA that's got a CPA and maybe 1 staff accountant and an assistant. Very different situations. So it's really important when you're speaking to people, you're thinking about the who and what their specific issues are and their specific desires are. And that's why this is also important. I'll show you another example just so that you have something else to work with. Here's Dana Earhart. Her headline reads, "Get your weekends and evenings back." That's what we desire, while building a wildly successful accounting, bookkeeping, CFO, or law firm. Again, something else they desire and who it's for. Okay, so that's another example. And I'll show you one more from our friend Sergio Chavez. Real results for healthcare service providers using Google Ads without the usual nonsense you've experienced with others. So he's actually kind of doing a couple things here. He's telling who it is he works with, what he does, but he's also pointing out a frustration or pain point that his ideal client has, which is nonsense that they may have experienced with other Google ad people. And by the way, Sergio's fantastic. He runs all of our Google ads as well as our Facebook advertising and some other things for us. So if you're in need of that service, reach out to Sergio. Anyway, so those are some examples of how this market to message match formula can manifest itself into a simple headline that will speak to your particular audience that you're wanting to get attention from. I'm going to come back here to full screen and bring on Ronan to add some additional thoughts, closing remarks, whatever.
Yeah, one of the thoughts, final thoughts that I have is that a lot of times I see, obviously, there's the ubiquitous title and company name that you see all the time. Because people don't actually do a headline. When they do a headline, one of the things they always forget is the pain point. They always talk about what they do, but they don't really talk about what pain they solve, what problem they solve. It's just, hey, I do this and this. So I think that part of what you discussed is probably the most important part, is really, reaching into someone's soul and grabbing what ails them. And that's what you solve. You know what I mean? That's a big key. And this also is part, and tomorrow we're going to talk about the 3-point power profile, but this is 1/3 of your first impression with people. And I know from experience that I've had people connect to our clients simply because they read the headline and said, I want to talk to that person. I want to know that person. I want to connect to that person because they're speaking my language.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's what I would offer. I mean, that's the only thing that I would add is that those 2 things.
Well, fantastic. So tomorrow we're on again at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time to walk through the 3-point power profile process, as Ronan indicated, and that's going to really help dress you up for the big day, if you will, when you start messaging in people. So I hope to see you there, and that's all I got.
Excellent. See you tomorrow.